Let's talk now about Michigan football. Okay. And the Michigan Wolverines go into Kinnick Stadium in Iowa, a place that they have not traditionally won at. In fact, Jim Harbaugh was 0-4 lifetime going into the game on Saturday. And they come away with a victory, 27-14. What was your takeaway? What'd you think? Michigan football.
I don't like
I know you
doing this.
love Michigan
I
football.
hate
You
it. I hate
specifically
this
love Jim
because
Harbaugh. So
I
just
gotta
go
be
for it, man.
objective. I can't lie. Listen, I don't expect Michigan to be perfect. I didn't think they would be, and there was a lot of things that was unsold on with this team. But what they're repeating from last season is giving me encouragement that they're for real. They have NFL players on that defensive line. And you saw it. They were taking possessions over in the second half by themselves. They were just hitting, bringing the stops. Like they were limiting Iowa a lot offensively. They got in, and that's what I want. Go back to the Lions, but this is what you want to see. Dominant defensive lines make all the difference in the world. Excuse me. And seeing that kind of pressure being able to resonate, it helped them create turnovers in games before. And I think this is what's going to carry them into the success that they're going to have throughout the Big Ten. I like what I saw from McCarthy. I like what I'm seeing from Corum. He's a absolute dog still.
That move that he put on that dude in the hole to seal.
Hey,
Oh my
Mike
God.
Hart, he might have a son. He looks a lot like him, not even just his build, but his running style. He's got to love coaching him. I love what I see from him out the backfield. Michigan looks like serious business right here. So I'm really buying a lot of stock of what I see from him.
Yeah. And so here's the question, right? And this is something I want to hear thoughts from the crowd on as well. Based on what you've seen from Michigan through 5 games, can they stay undefeated going into Ohio State? And remember, Ohio State is going to be at Ohio State this year. And it looks like it could be a top 5 matchup at the end of the season. Again, if everything holds true. What I love about Saturday is JJ McCarthy didn't light up the scoreboard,
Mm-mm.
but he did enough.
Yeah.
He played well enough to
Yes.
win. And if you got a run game that's as solid as Michigan's run game against one of the better Big Ten defenses that they are going to see. I mean, this was
Yep.
literally, and somebody likened it to this in the um, earlier in the week. It was an unstoppable force of the Michigan offense versus an unmovable object. You know, that big philosophical question as well
Mm-hmm.
in the Iowa defense. And the unstoppable force won out at the end of the
Right.
day. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I was clearly held back by their offense and their inability with Petrus as their quarterback to push the ball downfield and make plays and score. I think they scored their second or third touchdown all season. That's probably a wrong stat, but it's close. It's not very far off. But
Mm-hmm.
Michigan did exactly what Michigan needed to do against the defense that may be one of the tougher ones that they'll see all season long. Ohio State's defense is not as good as Iowa's.
No.
Penn State's defense, I don't think will be as good as Iowa's, even though they do have Joey Porter Jr. out there who looks like a stud at Penn
Mm-hmm.
State. But can they stay undefeated, Eric? Do you think that they can stay undefeated until they get to Ohio State?
Sadly, I do. I really do. I'm not really impressed with a lot of the teams I'm seeing that they got coming up. Michigan State's on a downslide. Even when they do got to play Penn State on the 15th, like they're playing at home, and Michigan has been holding serve at home beautifully all season. Michigan State is going to be the Spartans when they go to Ann Arbor. That's their Super Bowl. They're going to leave everything out that game. And I think if they're able to survive those two, I think they'll be undefeated by the time they get to Ohio State. I don't see a whole lot of resistance that they're going to see from Rutgers, Nebraska, or Illinois, turns out towards the end of the season. So we always get this kind of dramatics between Michigan and Ohio
We do.
State towards the end of the
Yeah.
year. And I think we're just going to see the repetition of that again. I think they're going to go undefeated. I do.
Yeah, I haven't seen enough from Penn State to really be a challenge for Michigan. It's always a challenge, Penn State, but I'd take Jim Harbaugh over James Franklin any day of the week and twice on Sunday. Indiana this week, not going to be a huge test, but you got to look at these like trap games too, right?
Yeah.
I've got Michigan's schedule pulled up here. Yeah, Indiana this week, Penn State at home, Michigan State at home,
Yep.
and then at Rutgers, and then Nebraska at home. The 2 games that worry me are at Rutgers and Nebraska at home. And the reason why they worry me is coming off of Penn State and Michigan. Those are at Rutgers game specifically is a trap game for Michigan.
Okay.
You've
Okay.
played Penn State at home in a maze out. You've played your rival who always plays you tough, regardless if their secondary is Swiss cheese or not.
Mm-hmm.
They play you tough. You've got those two highly competitive games, and then you go to New Jersey to play Rutgers. That could be a trap game.
Yeah.
I think Michigan will ultimately prevail because I just think we're way more talented than Rutgers is. But those games, and then Nebraska. Nebraska has nothing to play for and nothing to lose.
Mm-hmm.
And they shouldn't be as bad as what they were under Scott Frost.
That's
So
true.
it's going to be very interesting to see how they handle those two games. I think they win in Indiana. I think they beat Penn State. I think that they're going to beat Michigan State as well. My worry is going to be what happens when you get to Rutgers and what happens. Joseph said the run game setting up other weapons as well. Yeah, Ohio State will be the test on the road. I think you're
No
absolutely
question.
right, Joseph. 100%. No doubt about that.
Yeah, but
So
they've
we're
shown.
going 2 undefeated teams in Columbus. You here for that?
I'm here for it. I think it'll be good. I mean, we both kind of feel the same about Stroud. I don't really buy a whole lot into him, honestly. I feel like Michigan's defense can put some pressure on him, even in Ohio State. I think that
Yeah.
defensive line is going to give them some problems. And they show that they don't have to be perfect to win. Now, granted,
No.
it's not against the competition like what
The
they're going to
elite.
see at
Yeah.
Ohio State, but I kind of think they're the better team at this moment right now because of how they're playing on both sides of the football. So, yeah, I'm really high on what I'm seeing from Michigan right now.
I am too. It's going to be exciting. They got Indiana this Saturday. It's going to be Fox's big noon kickoff, so make sure you are tuning in for that.